Hello, welcome to Bharat TV and welcome to Beyond Borders. And today we are again here with the gem of astrology, Sir James Braha, in the second episode of our astrological discussion. So let me invite Sir James Braha. Hello, sir. Very warm welcome to the show Beyond Borders.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, pretty good.
Okay, so with our last discussion, what we did, and after that, I had a lot of queries and the questions from the guest as well for you. So that to ask you. So before starting those questions, I would like to continue where we left in the last episode. So we were talking about the non-duality or the Advaita or just moving forward regarding how the person should take their life or dharma forward. So what basically how astrology takes or look up to dharma and karma.
Okay,
Two
I
two
got it. You know more because I've been thinking about this.
okay.
So, as an astrologer, we're looking at the horoscope of a person, and when you start out astrology, so much depends upon whether you've had a teacher or not. So basically, and a lot of people are self-taught; they learn through books, and everybody finds little bits of information. Oh, look, Mars is in the seventh house, problems with marriage. Oh, look, the ninth house is strong. The person loves to travel. And they get all these pieces of information, but they often don't put it together. They don't look at the chart as a whole, seeing everything. And that's what has to be done to find the Dharma. The Dharma means what is most natural for a person, where their talents lie, and what is most natural for them. There's a big discrepancy, a misinformation, misunderstanding. People think that the Dharma is the career. The career is not the Dharma. The career is the career.
Okay.
The Dharma is the life as a whole. So, for example, there's a chart that I was looking at of a person, he didn't know his Dharma, and he didn't know what he was supposed to do, et cetera, et cetera. And the reason that he was having such a hard time was because the career wasn't indicating anything that specific. And so you're looking at the chart as a whole. This person had a Virgo ascendant with the 10th house ruler, Mercury, right next to exalted Venus in Pisces. Venus was highly exalted, and the 10th house ruler, Mercury, was within a few degrees of this highly exalted Venus. That's the 10th house ruler next to Venus, exalted Venus. That tells you the career may be in the arts. The career could be a performer. That person with the 10th ruler right next to highly exalted, when I say highly exalted Venus, I mean Venus near the 27th degree. It's very close to its highest degree. And the 10th house ruler is right next to that. That tells us that the career is going to involve the arts, or YouTube's, the arts, creativity, etc. But this was not the chart of an artist. The career could be connected to the arts, but the Dharma, you're looking at the entire horoscope. And in that particular horoscope, the 6th house ruler, Saturn, was in the 3rd house in Scorpio. That's indicating that the person is a healer. Even though there's a career with the arts and beauty and film and photography and clothing and sweets and jewelry, even though there's a career in that, the 6th house ruler, Saturn, is in the 3rd house. Anytime you have a connection between 3 and 6, you have a healer. They may not be doing healing as a living, but what they do is constantly helping and healing and taking care of people. Now, the moon, the all-important moon, was also right in that third house, right next to the sixth house ruler. Okay.
Okay.
So this is a person, I don't remember the entire chart, but there were a lot of aspects going on to that sixth house. I think the sun, the Atmakaraka, the sun was in the sixth house, the house of healing. So now you've got the arts, and you have with the 10th ruler Mercury in the seventh house, a career with a partner, a career with the public, also business, but mainly the 10th ruler next to Venus is that artistic realm. But then you have the sun, the Atmakaraka, in the sixth house, which is healing. And then you have the sixth ruler in the third house, healing. Then you have the moon with the sixth house ruler. So overall, you're seeing healing and you're seeing arts. But here's the thing, you're also seeing a seventh house. You're seeing a seventh house that has these two great benefics. When you have great benefics in the seventh house, you have a person who is constantly thinking about other people. So if you have the moon in the seventh house, the person wants to nurture other people. If you have Jupiter in the seventh house, the person's caring about other people. So now we have another feature for the seventh house. If it's got benefics, you're caring about other people. It's not specifically healing. But the horoscope is telling us this person's wanting to always help other people. So they want to help other people. They're empathetic to other people. They have the healing energy. So now you have one feature for the arts, and you have 4 or 5 different features for healing. Now, the person does not have to be a healer, but their Dharma is, so the Dharma means what is most natural. So this person has so much caring for other people. They want to nurture other people. They want to heal other people. So that's their Dharma. Now, if this person decides, oh, there's more money in law, they'll go become a lawyer and they'll be unhappy their whole life, but they will make a living at it. They'll make a good living, but they'll never be within their Dharma. So if this person wants to be in their Dharma, the main thing is they're fixing things, they're helping people. They could be a life coach, they could be a healer of any kind, but that's the Dharma. So the Dharma for some people will be staying at home with their family. They may have a good career, but everything is about home and family. So their Dharma, what is most natural. Now here's the thing, when you're doing a horoscope, you'll see a person's Dharma might be the arts, but they have no confidence. They have no confidence because the ascendant has Saturn right on the ascendant. Saturn's with the moon. They have no confidence, but you see that their Dharma is to be an artist because there's art all over. And they say to you, oh, but I have no confidence in that. That's not what they'll say. What they'll say is, I have no artistic ability. They do. It's in the horoscope all over the place, but they don't have the confidence. And it's your job to say, look, this is your Dharma. Even if the person says, I can't draw a straight line, I don't know anything about art, if their Dharma is the arts, they will learn so quickly. They will advance so quickly because it's their Dharma. Now, the biggest problem with astrology, is that very few people have ever studied with a teacher, doing charts. They haven't done that. So what happens is they go to they read books, they learn a certain amount, they learn what planets and houses mean, they learn what aspects mean, they learn what yogas mean, but they've never had a teacher to sit with them. And this is something that I did in my classes. I just did a 12 session, I told you this, I did a 12
Yes.
session class. An hour and 20 minutes in every class for 12 sessions using 50 horoscopes. That's the way I learned with my teacher, okay? Here's the problem. The problem is that people think that they can go to the internet and hear a bunch of lectures on this and on that and on this and that, and they'll be a good astrologer. They'll never be a good astrologer doing that, never. And here's the reason why. They think they will, but they won't. I'm trying to learn, my son is living in Portugal, so I'm trying to learn the Portuguese language because we visit. And I'm going on YouTube and I'm seeing all these videos, and they're giving words, they're giving phrases, they're giving more words, they're giving more phrases, and I'm picking them up como estás. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
uh, anyway, I have like 100 and 150 words. I even have some phrases. A aprender Portuguese. I'm learning Portuguese, but I'll never be able to actually hold conversations unless I have a teacher and I get to that level where I'm talking back and forth with a person. So when the astrologers are learning these pieces from the YouTubes and the pieces from the YouTubes, what they're getting is a bunch of words and a bunch of phrases. They'll never be able to put it together if they don't sit with an astrologer and horoscope after horoscope after horoscope. That's what they need to do. So they'll always, so in those cases, if they haven't had a teacher, a good teacher, and they haven't analyzed 50 or 100 horoscopes with a teacher, they're only going to be able to pick up individual pieces. They'll very rarely get the Dharma because they're looking for a career, they're looking for love, they're looking for marriage, and they're looking for health. Love, health, career, and money, and sometimes spiritual. That's what they're looking for.
Yes.
They're not looking for the Dharma. The Dharma is where you see the whole chart and you see, oh, this person's got healing energy, and they're very empathetic. So that people with Jupiter in the seventh house, they are so often counselors, or the moon in the seventh, they're counselors. There's nothing in the sixth house, but the seventh house is so empathetic. So you have to put the whole thing together. That's what's going on with the Dharma. So the Dharma is what is most natural. So I'm an astrologer as a career. My
Okay.
career is astrology because the 10th house ruler is aspected by Jupiter, a spiritual planet, and Jupiter rules the eighth house. It's all about astrology. But you look at the chart as a whole and you see the 12th house with the full moon aspected by Mercury, and you see the 12th house ruler right next to Ketu. And suddenly you're going, yeah, there's astrology, but what about all this spiritual stuff? So my Dharma is actually more about enlightenment, moksha. That's what the Living Reality, the non-duality book. My Dharma is about a spiritual life going for enlightenment, and my career is astrology. But also within the Dharma, there's a tremendous amount of wanting to help other people. There's the Mercury in the sixth house, Mercury in the sixth, trying to heal people. The full moon and Rahu aspect the sixth house. So the sixth house is getting a lot of energy to where I'm wanting to heal people and I'm wanting to help people. And the seventh house is very strong because Jupiter's aspecting my seventh, Mars is aspecting its own sign, which is the seventh house. So my seventh house is very empathetic. There's just a tremendous amount of wanting to help people. So that becomes part of the Dharma as well. But the astrology specifically is my career. It's not, like that. But
Yeah.
it's the spiritual, it's the helping people, it's the, using astrology or anything to help other people. That's, you're looking at the chart as a whole like that.
Okay, so when some astrologer trying to look out that, okay, mostly people like you said comes for the career, marriage, their financial
Yeah,
stability,
exactly.
or the health. These all are the basic major question everybody comes for, like consultation on. So that's how astrologer can say the finally, okay, this is the thing, this is the placement, and you need to follow this. Can you please summarize something in that side?
I'm not sure what you're asking. Are you asking how
I'm
to
ask,
how to explain their dharma or how to explain their career and their health and their money? What are you asking?
okay, so in one, like you earlier said, that if someone will come, see, directly nobody will come to find their dharma. That question will come later, might come later, but
So
the
you
first.
have to be so you have to be like a politician. They ask a politician, "What do you think about healthcare?" And they start talking about foreign relations because they don't want to talk about healthcare. So or so so your job as an astrologer, I mean, look, it depends on what you want to do, but if you want to have a meaningful career, where you get the most out of astrology, then you're going to be presenting them all those little details that they want to know. But that's not what I focus on. In the very beginning of the reading, the very beginning, I will talk about the foundation, the sun, the moon, the ascendant, and the ascendant ruler, to let them know that I know who they are. They're struggling in life because the foundation is weak, or they're having an easy time because the foundation is strong. I will talk about that. And then I will pretty much get very quickly to the essence of the horoscope. In other words, I'll give an overview. I tell them, I'm going to give you some information, but I'm not going to tell you the astrological meanings yet. I'm going to give it to you first, then I'm going to tell you why I'm saying what I'm saying. So, for example, in that chart that I was talking about, where the sixth ruler is in the third house, healing. The moon is with the sixth ruler. The sun is in the sixth house. The Mercury, Venus in the seventh house. All of those things are healing. So I'm not going to start that chart by saying, this is your money, this is your marriage. I'm going to start the chart by letting them know, I want them to know right off the bat who they are, because that person's a healer. That's who they are. Whether they do healing or not, who they are as a healer. They go around fixing people and fixing things and healing. So I let them know, look, this is who you are. You're an artist because you got that Mercury, Venus is already artistic, and Mercury's ruling the career house. It's with Venus. You're an artist. You're also a healer. But who you are is more of a healer and a helper, a fixer. That's who you are. Then I will get to the, because I want them to have an experience that's going to change their life for the better. So when they listen to the recording later on, look, when they come for the reading, they're in total confusion because they're looking for money, they're looking for love. Those are things out of context. You want to get to the context of the horoscope right away, and you want to have a profound reading. So you start with the big stuff, as long as it's not negative. You can't start with the negative stuff, or you'll scare the bejesus out of them from the start. They'll be worrying the whole reading. So you're starting with the positives of the chart as a whole. This is who you are. You're a healer, you're a fixer, and you're an artist. That's who you are. And then you know, I'll explain why I've said that, and then I'll get to the money. Because look, the money is, unless the money is their dharma, it's not important in the context of a life. The marriage, if it's not their dharma, is not. It's not. You want the context of the life, the meaning of the life, and then marriage is here, and money is here, and career is here. But you have to give them, and so you do the reading. You give them the whole picture in the beginning. Then you give them all the little pieces: the money, the marriage, the career, the problems, this, that, and the other thing, the good dashas, the bad dashas, and then at the end, again, you'll make sure that they've heard you about the Dharma. Then you say, what are your questions? When they start asking their questions, the questions will either be appropriate or they will not. The questions may be about the money or about the marriage. That's fine. That's fine. If they have heard the message that I want them to know, which is who they are and what their greatest dharma is and what their greatest success will be, what the greatest use of their talent is. And then the other things are great. They came for career, you give them career. They came for spiritual, you give them spiritual. But when they go and listen to this reading again, they came for these questions, but what they got was something much greater. They got a profound reading that they will never forget. And if they have a destiny that they know in their mind, but they're not been pursuing because of confidence, or parents tell them, no, you shouldn't do that. No, you shouldn't do that. Now they know, oh, I had this reading and the astrologer confirmed I'm supposed to be a politician, or I'm supposed to be a lawyer, which is what I wanted to do, and they stopped me. Then it changes their life, and they got the information of whatever they came for. And by the way, when you get a really difficult horoscope, really confusing, and you go, oh my God, this is just, you don't know what to do. The first thing I start with, I tell them what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend 40 minutes talking. I'm going to go over the planets, the dashas. And then in those cases, I will say, let me ask you something. What brought you for a reading? Now, I will not do that with most cases because I want them to get an objective view of what I saw, of what I'm seeing. I say, don't tell me anything. I want you to get an objective reading. But if the chart's really confusing, I say, tell me what brought you for a reading. That's going to be critical. And then I'll start to answer that. And then I'll go, to the chart as a whole.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know, and quite a bigger perspective of a horoscope, that now the native can find out that what actually is uh, the person's desire and what
But you
they
can
was going.
only do that. You can only see the big picture
Yeah.
if you have studied with a teacher and gone over 30, 40, 50, 100 horoscopes in depth. Not the way my teachers did it. My teachers took a look at it and they started reading it, which was great. But they never saw the big picture. They never even said you've got to be an astrologer, it's clear as day. Because they were just getting pieces, pieces, pieces. It's like me learning Portuguese and all I'm getting is words and phrases.
Yes, like all the bits and pieces, but not telling the exact thing what actually you are meant to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so in moving forward with this, there are always two terms like dharma and karma. Like we say dharam and karam, that comes together when people are speaking about it. How karma can change your destiny, or can karma change your destiny? Is
Karma,
it
oh,
something?
wait a minute, wait. It's not how can karma change. Karma's karma. It's whatever the karma is, you're going to get it.
So
Whether it's good karma or bad karma. So if a person there's a horoscope that I used in my classes for a career. It was a friend of mine who had nothing but problems in his career. The Dharma was clear. He's a writer, he's an artist. He's a writer, he's an artist. He knew that and he did that. But the karma was so bad, it would interfere with the career. So he worked on a script for a year. This is before the age of the internet. He never made copies of that. He wrote this entire, I don't know, a book or a screenplay. Took him a year. He was in a hotel. Some drug addicts went into his room thinking it was somebody else's room. They grabbed the briefcase and left. They left with no money. They left with the work that he had done for a year. So he was in his dharma, but his karma for career was so bad that he lost it. Another time, he gave a script to a friend of his who was in a film production. He said, do me a favor, give this to the director. He gives it to the director. The director says, I like this. Tell me who this guy is. I want to talk to him. He's a good writer. The friend forgets to tell. Decades later, he finds out, I forgot to tell him. He liked your script. So he was in his dharma. He was doing. Now, listen, if you're doing your dharma, you are growing, you are evolving. That's what matters. It actually doesn't matter whether the producer got the script and made the movie. That's not important. At the end of your life, it is not, oh, I made this money. Oh, I wrote this book. Oh, I did 50 YouTubes. That's not what matters. What matters is the growth that took place when you wrote that book, the growth that took place when you made those YouTubes, the growth that took place when you made that money. The money and the results are irrelevant. What you want is evolution. So, yes, my friend suffered. He never had his career. His career was terrible his whole life, but he was in his dharma, and therefore he was growing. So the karma got in the way. Other times, look, I was thinking about this the other day. I've said it 100 times on videos, but I'm going to say it again. I was in India for 3 months. 2 weeks before I was going to leave, a desire came up and I said, I better go get I've got to learn Hindu astrology. I go there and the guy says, what are you doing? Oh, you can't learn that way. I have a teacher for you. I was 10 weeks I was walking around India, different cities, trying to find astrologers to learn from. Nothing. Then the karma comes in. The karma comes in, and suddenly the guy says, I have a teacher for you, because my karma is very good in that area. So the karma can be good or bad, but the dharma is the dharma.
Okay, so what I understand here is like you have to keep doing what you need to do, and then how person could be a motivated being, like if there is nothing, every time something, like you said your friend he wrote the script and someone forgot to mention his name, and then how every time that person could feel like, okay, I will be keep doing. It's like it's not easy that every time you are getting a setback and then again get up and then again start doing it.
The Bhagavad Gita says you have control over your actions, not the fruit of your actions. This man who was an artist, if you took this man who was an artist and he said, all right, I'm not having success in the arts, I'll go become a nurse, he's going to be miserable as a nurse. It's not his dharma.
Still then it's a quite a like a free will kind of thing, like every time you choose to do it and you keep doing it, and that's how somehow. So then what is that, which planet is that which keeps you moving in that?
The dharma,
Nothing.
the dharma is the dharma. If you're moved to do the arts, you do the arts. If they pay you, I just read Al Pacino's autobiography, his memoirs, and he said he was on stage. I think he was around the age of 20 or so. He was on stage in a Strindberg play, and all of a sudden, he said, all of a sudden, he said, I, I had this experience. I said, oh my God, this is it. This is what I want to do with my life. And he says specifically, now nothing matters. It doesn't matter if I eat or I don't eat. It doesn't matter if I'm famous or not famous. It doesn't matter if I make money or not make money. This is what I want to do. That's just natural. It's not a planet. It's not a planet. It's all the planets in the chart giving the Dharma. So for the person who I was talking about being a healer, it's not the sun in the sixth house. That's one element for healing. It's not the Saturn ruling the sixth and the third. That's just another of healing. It's not the Mercury, Venus in the seventh house, which is so empathetic. It's all of them. It's
Okay.
all of them. And they will walk around knowing that's what they want to do. That's just natural. Now, where it's difficult is where the person has no confidence. Like that person I was talking about, the healer, they had the sixth ruler Saturn in the third with the moon. So now the moon is losing confidence. The moon is gaining health and healing because the moon's next to the sixth ruler, but the moon's losing confidence. So now the person's losing confidence because the moon is afflicted. So they think, well, I'm not good enough. Maybe I can't do it. Maybe it won't work, blah, 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 blah. But the Dharma is healing. They're going to do it or they're not going to do it. That's their free will. And if they don't do it at the end of their life, they'll go, well, I guess I didn't do very much. The other person will say, wow, I helped people. I did a lot of good for other people. Or in my friend's case, he'll say, I never had any big success, but you know what? I did what I wanted to do. I didn't do what my parents wanted. My parents wanted to be a doctor. I don't want to be a doctor. I want to be an artist. So he's an artist. He didn't gain the success, but he gained the evolution. Maybe the next time he'll get the results of those efforts. Most of the times, we're not getting the results of our efforts in this life. I didn't get to where I am with astrology because of what I did here. I got it because the karma was so intensely strong for astrology. The karma was so intensely strong for going for moksha. Now they come up as my desires, but they're coming up because of what's written in the chart.
Okay. Okay, I get it, the
And if a
point what
person
you are
does
trying to.
And if a person does drugs and alcohol, forget it. They're going to get their person that's 30, 35 years old, 40 years old, and they've been drinking and doing drugs for 20 years. It's like they're 20 years old. Even though they're 40, it's like they're 20 just starting out when they quit the
Yeah.
drugs. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a kind of karma, whatever you are doing, just that's how you make progress where you are.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like in our last session, we were discussing that about transits. So, like the Saturn transit coming soon,
Wait, I was
you can
discussing.
we like when I asked for the transits, you told me that you majorly when there is any big transit, suppose Saturn is moving. So now soon Saturn is going to move into the Pisces. There any kind of like you want to give to people, that what they can expect for the next year or with the Saturn transit, on the bigger level, not for the every individual or every like ascendant, not in that way.
Yeah, that's not my. It's not my my level of expertise. Most astrologers, they have newsletters and they send out newsletters. This is going to happen and that's going to happen, and most of the time it's just inaccurate. So I don't do much of that. If it was Pluto, if it was Uranus or Neptune or Pluto, I would do it. I just, like, okay, let's take April of 2024. Jupiter went into Taurus.
Okay.
It's still there. April of 2024, Jupiter went into Taurus. Did I see anything with money in the world? No, I didn't see anything particularly with money. Not anything significant, like different from other years. Okay, Saturn's been in Aquarius for the last 2 years. Have I seen anything about Aquarius? Aquarius is science. Did I see anything particular about science or air travel or inventions in the last 2 years that were completely different from other years? I did not. So if you go by these astrologers that send out newsletters, oh, here's what's coming, most of it is nonsense. I'm sorry, but that's my feeling.
Hmm.
There was this, that's called mundane astrology, where you're looking at what happens to the world,
Yes,
what
yes.
happens to the world. So if anybody could do mundane astrology and make predictions for the world accurately, they would be world famous, not with astrologers, they would be world famous with the public. The last two people that I know that were able to do this, one was named Jean Dixon, and she was an astrologer and a psychic. I think she was more psychic than astrology based on her predictions, but she used astrology. She was very famous because she got a lot of predictions right about the world. She also got a lot of predictions wrong. Okay, but she got enough to be famous. The other was Edgar Casey, who got hit in the head on the third eye, and the chakra opened up, and he would go into a trance, and he would tell all these phenomenal things about what would happen to the world. He'd come out of the trance and say, "What did I say? What did I say?" Because he didn't remember any of it. But he predicted that Miami would be a big giant port where people would fly from all over the world. When I was growing up in the 60s, Miami was no big, it wasn't a big city. It was a small city. It's a city of 1 million people. It was a small city and it wasn't big. And then as the years went by, the 70s, the 80s, Miami became a world class. The airport's huge. People come. He predicted stuff like that. He predicted a lot of that. Those people would be famous. When the astrologers are predicting what's going to happen next month, next year for the world, it just doesn't work. If you add up all the things they said, it doesn't work. They will tell you, "Oh, look what I predicted." They got one right out of 30. And they'll tell you about the ones they predicted right, not wrong. So I don't see much going on for Saturn
Okay.
or Jupiter.
So when you are looking for the chart, at that time you do not consider the transits majorly. You just focus with the chart. What are
No,
the
no,
places?
whoa, 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 whoa. For the people, of course I'm looking at the transits, but that's an individual horoscope. If somebody's got Mercury in Pisces, Mercury's going to get hurt for 2.5 years starting in April. When Saturn goes into Pisces, if Mercury's in their chart in Pisces, Mercury gets hurt. If 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 a person's got a second house which is Pisces and Saturn's going to go in there, they're gonna have money problems. They're going to have to focus on money for 2.5 years. That's completely different. But in
Okay.
other words, for me to say something general that everybody listening to this can use, it's useless. Unless I say, if the first house is Pisces, people are going to criticize them. They're going to work on their flaws. They're going to work on their problems. If Pisces is their second house, it's going to cause money problems. If Pisces is their third house, they're going to have problems with younger brothers and sisters. Yeah, there'll be stuff like that. But to talk about it in a video, it would take me 2 hours to go over all the 12 houses.
I get it. I get it. So in short, if I summarize that, to look at the horoscope completely all over. If the person finds a dharma, like from the astrologer who is coming to you, they can choose that path as a career and move forward without worrying much.
The Dharma is the Dharma. It's not necessarily the career. Take the case of the chart I was talking about. The ruler of the 10th house is right next to Venus. The career is very likely to have something to do with the arts. The career is. The person's a healer and a fixer by nature, and that's their dharma. So they could go, I would not have a problem with a person like this becoming an artist, but I would tell them, all your life, people are going to come to you for help and you're going to help them. And anything you do, you're going to be fixing things, fixing things, fixing things. Okay? That's your dharma, to help people and to heal people, to help people and to heal people and to fix things and to fix people. That's your dharma. Your career might be the arts.
Okay, okay, I get
So
in that.
there's two different things going on. There's the arts and there's the healing. It's their choice as to what they want to do, but they're going to be, who they are is more of a healer than an artist. They're, to a certain extent, they're an artist, but there's so much healing going on. They're always going to be doing that. They could they could be either. They could be both, like that.
Okay, okay. So there was a question from a viewer. She wanted to know if there, like, if a house or the Rashi is hemmed, how do you see that
Hemmed.
place?
If the
Yeah,
Rasi is hemmed, what do you
Rashi.
mean?
They said, suppose two malefics or two very strong planets are the two sides of a one planet. How that planet or house gonna give the result?
I'd have to see the horoscope. You
How
can't.
does it work basically? Yeah, that's
I'd
how
have to.
that's what.
I'd have to see the horoscope. Look, if they're in, if okay, let's say you take Venus and it's
Okay,
in Cancer, and you have Saturn in Gemini, and you have Mars in Leo. So Mars and Saturn are in the houses on the sides of the Venus. That's not the same as Venus being in the same house with Mars. It's not the same as Venus being in the same house with Saturn. Those that would be much worse.
okay.
That would be
So
much worse. It would be much worse if they were conjunct. But if they're just in a house over there and a house over there, it's a bit of a it's a bit of a issue, but it's not that huge. The reason that it's an issue is because the person's born with Venus in Cancer. As life goes on, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, the Venus is going to transit. It's going to keep moving, and eventually it's going to hit Mars. Venus is in Cancer. In some days or months or years, Venus is going to move, in the sky. You have your
yes,
natal chart, but in the sky, Venus is going to move. It's going to hit Mars.
yes,
So
yes.
that might hurt Venus a little bit. Saturn's in Gemini. After some years, it'll come to Cancer. It'll hit Venus. That's where that comes from.
Okay,
Okay, but it's not that big of a deal. If you read in my books, particularly if you read in The Art and Practice of Ancient Hindu Astrology, you can see it in the background over there. It's the big blue book with my
yes,
face on it. That's
yes,
the
yes.
art and practice. I talk a lot about, actually, I have 2 or 3 pages where it gives you the priorities. Like, where does that fall? A planet hemmed in by malefics in other signs. It's not near the top. It's way down. It's not that big of a deal. The moon, if the moon is isolated, oh, the moon is isolated, it's bad. People think if the moon doesn't have a planet near it on either side, that it's terrible. It's a minor issue. Yes, it's negative, but it's minor. So in that book, I talk about the priorities of the big priorities and the ones that are weaker. That's a weak one.
Okay, okay. So I think the viewer got the response already, whatever it is. So in this session, I just want to stick on that part of karma and dharma, and will for the next we will choose a different topic to move forward with. And thank you so much for this beautiful knowledge and the wide range of dharma, which basically is like, because when we are moving through different cultures, there are different kind of explanation for dharma. And that some people say that's while you are with your parents, you need to take care of parents, and that's your dharma. And then and moving through the different cultures, their meanings are changing. But that's a different perspective you told about anyone to look for, to look through the astrological chart and to move forward.
The Dharma is what is most evolutionary. Listen carefully to what I'm saying. It's not there's a rule in life that you take care of your kids. There's a rule in life that you take care of your parents. It's not like that. But it's everything that is most natural and evolutionary. It is natural and evolutionary to take care of your kids. It is natural and evolutionary to take care of your parents. It is not evolutionary to treat your parents bad and your children. That's de-evolving, devolving. That's going down. You want to help people. You want to be good to people. You want to be honest. You want to be moral. You want to be ethical. All of those things, being ethical and moral and honest, they're not the Dharma, but those are the things that are evolutionary and natural. As such, they become dharmic. I would say they become dharmic. But if you're looking at what I call the Dharma, because all those things, being good to people, being nice, being evolutionary, being honest, being moral, those are all natural evolutionary techniques. Drinking, taking drugs is not evolutionary. It's not dharmic. Okay. But when I talk about the Dharma from a horoscope, you're looking at the Dharma, you're looking at the horoscope as a whole and seeing what would make this person evolve and grow and natural and fulfillment more than anything. And that's a result of the entire horoscope, everything, considering the money problems, considering the love problems, considering the love, the good stuff, and considering everything, what would be most evolutionary. So a person might say, well, I want to do this. And I say, well, it's really weak in the horoscope. You may go do that. That's your free will, but it's really weak. It's not going to give you your greatest evolution because your greatest talents are over here. That's going to be more evolutionary and growth like that.
Okay, okay. Now I got it more clear in terms of both kind of dharmas. It is sometimes very complicated to find what is the actual thing. But thank you so much for this episode.
Okay. My
You
pleasure.
were saying something, sir. Did
I
I?
was just going to say, when you think Dharma, you think evolution and fulfillment, evolution and fulfillment, evolution and fulfillment.
Okay.
So taking care of your parents may not be your evolution and fulfillment. I mean, you do that to a certain extent. But if you say, well, I'm going to stay home and take care of them until they're dead and ignore your own, what's going to make your evolution and your Dharma, you can't do that. Your evolution and your Dharma is what it is. Helping your parents is a good thing to do, but it's not the Dharma unless the horoscope indicates you have come here to take care of your parents. If it indicates that, that'll be evolutionary for you. So you're looking at what is most evolutionary and most fulfilling. You're not looking at the marriage, the money, the career. You're looking at the whole ball of wax. You're looking at the whole thing. And they paid you. They want to know about money. They want to know about career. They want to know about love. That's what they paid you for. You got to give
Yes.
them that. But if
Yes.
you want to be a great astrologer that gives readings that really matter, that make a difference. Because when a person gets a reading and the friends say, well, what they say, they said, oh, I'm getting married in 2 years. Oh, I'm going to make a lot of money here. It's not important. It's not that important. It comes and goes. But if you tell them their Dharma, they're never going to forget it.
Yes.
Never.
Yes. I
And if
absolutely
they,
I
and if,
agree.
and if they do their Dharma, I promise you the happiness. There is a profound, if you do your Dharma, there is a profound peace of mind. There is a profound happiness in the heart. There is a profound, oh my God, I found my Dharma and I did it. It's profound. But when you give these readings, your money is this, your career is this, your love is it's it's a waste of time in a way. I mean, I know it's important, but it's nothing compared to but to do this, you need to take classes. You can't just, oh, I saw the internet and they talked about this, the moon conjunct Saturn means this and the moon in the fifth house means that. You're going to be, it's out of context. Okay?
Yes.
So,
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.
my pleasure.